Hey YouTube, Mark Coffman here, and today I am going to go through my top 15 knives / multi-tools in my collection. Now, this has been a development through about, I'm going to say, 4 to 3 years of exploration throughout the knife world. I have been collecting knives for quite a while. And then started seriously collecting them about 4 years ago. And in that time, I have experienced a lot of knives, seen a lot of knives, held a lot of knives, and these are the top 15 knives / multi-tools that I probably could recommend. And this is out of my collection. So I use all of these. These are all my knives. These are not supplied to me by any company. I bought these with my hard-earned cash, and I use them all the time and anytime I can. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the Leatherman rebar. Now, this is a recent acquisition of mine, but the Leatherman rebar is a multi-tool that I ended up deciding to get after I looked through the entire Leatherman catalog, and I just felt that this fit my needs the most. Has a blade, has a file, has multiple different tools in here, flathead screwdrivers, has a awl. It also has a Phillips can opener and then a serrated blade. And for me personally, not a serrated blade, it has a saw, a file, a plain edge, and then the saw, file, and plain edge. Yeah. So this one here is definitely one that I have been enjoying and would recommend, and having the replaceable cutters is fantastic. So that is the first one. And then the next one is going to be the Leatherman Surge. Now, this one I originally didn't really enjoy because it had a few issues, but I've worked those out, and those were just cosmetic, not functional. But so far, I've been enjoying the fact that I have a plain and serrated edged blade here that are easy to get, and then I have an interchangeable system to change out different tools that I might want to use. And then in this tool, you have a bit driver, Phillips can opener, and then on this other end, you have a few flathead screwdrivers there. So for me personally, this is another really great one, and it's much larger than the rebar. Now, the next one is going to be the Medford Slim Praetorian. And for me personally, I love this knife. This thing is fantastic, and it's very light, very easy to carry, super smooth, a very smooth knife, and very easy to deploy. You can spidey flick it, you can thumb flick it, you can really do a lot of work with this while not having a lot of weight. And I personally have always loved the Praetorian style, but I just can never justify carrying the entire Praetorian. So for me, I went slim. So that is my third. And then my next one is going to be the Chris Reeve Large Sebenza. This one is a classic, and for me, there's a long time coming to get this, but for me personally, I thought I would have to have the Large Sebenza to complete a collection and to complete the knife experience. You know, this is a knife that has been around for a long time and has had many iterations and is known by many to be one of the best you can get. So there's the Chris Reeve Large Sebenza, and then here is a Chris Reeve Small Sebenza, and this one here is just like that one, but just smaller and just as robust. So for me, I think it's great to have a smaller version of a great knife that can do a lot of work. Next one's going to be very similar, and that is going to be the Chris Reeve Small Sebenza in Black Micarta. And this one here I bought to have a little more grip and to have a little more purchase when I don't want to have to carry a large knife, but I want to have something that's going to not be lost in use. So that is the next one there. And then after that is going to be the Chris Reeve Small and Cozy. Now this was actually my very first Chris Reeve knife, and I bought this primarily because of how unique it was, and I thought to myself, well, I am probably never going to be able to get another Chris Reeve, so why not just get one that's pretty unique and different looking? And I think this is a very unique knife. Now this is one that I carry quite often when it comes to not needing a large knife, but I want to have something that's going to be robust and easy to carry, and it's pretty much a three-hand grip for me. So on to the next one, and that is going to be the Benchmade 940. This one here is my second. I sold my first and deeply regretted it. I was cleaning out a few pipes around the house, and most of my knives kind of fit into those pipes, but this fit the best, and it was the longest. I used a metal ruler to clean it out, and I needed a very sharp edge to actually scrape out the pipe, and the 940 did that job perfectly. So that is one that I would definitely recommend and is one of my personal favorites. And then the next one is going to be the Spyderco Para 3. This one is in Maximet. I've changed the scales out on this one. The blue is just easier to see when I'm working. Finding it is a little easier, and also it's a cheerful color. So the Para 3 was definitely one that I never really liked until I sold my first one and then sold my second one. And this is my third, and I'm never going to sell it again. Primarily because it's a very useful blade shape, very utilitarian. You can get your index finger at the tip there to do some precise cutting. But for me, this is just going to be a good compact folder that you can get out of your pocket quickly and then put it back rather quickly as well. The next one in my choice of my 15 is going to be the Spyderco Endura. This one has a Flytanium scale set put on it, but for me, this is a great knife, and it's a lockback, so it's going to be not as fidget friendly, but it's going to be very robust and very strong. And then this one is also going to be an S30V. Now this is a more premium model than the standard, but honestly, for about $30 to $25 more, why not get this one? And then after that is going to be the Buck Vantage Mini, and this one here I treat more as like a utility blade. This thing is going to be rather small, and it's about the same size as the Small and Cozy. So I treat this as more of a utility knife than anything else, but I think having that S30V from Paul Boss is a great thing to have in a utility blade. Now, of course, you could say, well, why don't you use a utility knife? Because they're ugly as sin, and this does a better job. Next is going to be the Victorinox Hiker. Now, I've had one of these before and sold it, but honestly, I've been carrying the Victorinox Super Tinker, and I feel like the saw is a little more useful. If you're in an environment that you need to cut things more and you don't need to really cut thread, having the saw is a really good idea. And to be honest, the knife blade can almost do every job the scissors do. Now, I know there are some special cases, but I really do think this is one of the better choices out there. And then one of my personal favorites is the Victorinox Sportsman. It's essentially a small Spartan, but you get a nail file here, and then you can also store the micro screwdriver in the back. And this one's just great because it's an 84mm frame. It's small, light, very convenient, and still packing of quite a few tools. You get a can opener, you get a cap lifter, and with those two tools, you get a small and large flathead screwdriver, and then you also get the micro flathead, and then you also have an awl in the back. So very, very good tool set for a very small size. And then we have the Victorinox Hercules. You get a large blade, you get pliers, you get scissors, you get a saw, and then under the pliers and under the scissors, you have two Phillips head screwdrivers. You have a nice fat stubby one and then a long thin one, and I think those are great to have. And then with those two, You also have the large flathead screwdriver that is a cap lifter, and then a rather large small flathead in the can opener, and then you have the micro screwdriver in the back you can install, and then an awl. And I really feel like this is a great one to have. And then the very last knife is going to be a case muskrat. Now, I had to include a true traditional into this lineup, and for me, I use this more than any traditional knife pattern than any of the ones I've experienced, primarily because it gives you the same cutting experience no matter which blade you use. If this blade goes dull, you can go to the other one and you've got the same blade shape and hopefully, depending on your sharpening, the same blade length as the other one you were just using. And I find this to be a great utility and on occasion steak knife, and it really is a great setup. So I thought you guys would enjoy seeing my top 15 knives out of my collection. And honestly, these are the mainstays of my collection. These are the ones that I carry the most, and I really do think they would be a great knife for you if you were looking out there to get a knife or get a multi-tool. So, and this is actually coming from a guy that had almost 100 different Swiss Army knives. So to have these 3 in this list is definitely saying something. So till the next one, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.